Hello everybody, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how I made this simple app with Python and Beautiful Soup. I'm going to show you how the app works quickly, and then we're going to get straight into building it. So, what would you like to hear a joke about? I would like to hear a joke about dogs. At the boxing match, the dad got into the popcorn line and the line for hot dogs, but he wanted to stay out of the punchline. Would you like to hear another joke? Yes. What would you like to hear a joke about? Cats. It was raining cats and dogs the other day. I almost stepped in a poodle. Would you like to hear another joke? No. Thank you for playing. Have a good day. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So, first things first, we're going to have to import 3 modules. The first one is going to be Beautiful Soup. So from BS4, import Beautiful Soup. The second is going to be called Requests. And the third is going to be called Random. So the first step is going to be making a request to the website to get a page of jokes in return. So the website we're going to be using is called icanhasthatjoke.com. And we're going to be using this website because it's really easy for us to scrape the jokes. So the first step is going to be creating a new variable called URL, where we're going to input the URL, and after that we're going to make a new variable called response, which is going to be equal to the requests.get URL, and that means we're getting the page, and that's going to be our response. So let's print our response. So we should get a status code of 200, which means that the response was successful. So now if we print res.text, we'll get the page in HTML form. Great. So now we've got the page, let's put that into a Beautiful Soup variable. So let's create a new variable called soup, and let's set it equal to Beautiful Soup res.text, and we're going to use something called html.parser. And now we print soup, we should pretty much get the same thing. Perfect. So, now that we've completed part 1, we can move on to part 2. And the next step is going to be to turn that page of jokes into a list of jokes. And then we're going to choose a random joke from the list. So, first things first, let's have a look at what we have here in the HTML. Best thing to do would be to look in the browser, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to search in dog. And now we're going to inspect the page. And inspect again. And we can see here that the element that we are looking for is called pre, and it has a style which is equal to background color inherit. So if we look at the next element with the next joke and we inspect that, we should have exactly the same thing. A pre with the style of background color inherit inside a TD. So what we're going to want to do is get the text inside of each of these elements and append them to a list. So the way we're going to do that is by using soup. So let's say jokes equals an empty list, and for joke in soup.findAll, find all the elements called pre with the style which is equal to this. Let's copy everything. What we want to do is say joke dot we want to actually print, let's print it first. Print joke.text. So let's run that quickly and see if it works. And sure enough it does. But we don't want to print them, we want to append them to the jokes list. So let's say jokes.append joke.text. And then after that, let's print jokes. And we should now get a list full of jokes. And we do. Perfect. And once we have a list of jokes, all we need to do is to return a random joke. So all we have to do that is print random.choice from our list of jokes, and if we return that, we get the joke at the end there. So let's remove this comment or remove this print line, and let's rerun it, and we just get a random joke. Now if we remove this too, it should look a lot better. So there we go. That's the joke we get. So the next step means that we have to build some simple game logic. So we are going to ask the user what they would like to hear a joke about. So we could say that the search term is equal to the input to the following question. What would you like to hear a joke about? Now, what we're going to do with this search term is we are going to append it to the URL. So for example, if the user wanted to hear a joke about dogs, for example, dogs, we would append the word dogs to the end of the URL with the following term equals dogs. So what we're going to do is we're going to say URL, base URL is equal to the URL we have up here. So for now we can just ignore all of this stuff we've done up here. Let's just focus on this, and our search term and our actual URL is going to be our base URL plus our search term. Now we do have to edit this a little bit. I have to take away the extra mark there, and we also have to add in a plus sign and a term equals. So let's try and let's copy this code and see if we actually get a response with this text. So let's comment this out and let's run this code here. So I would like to hear a joke about dogs. Oh, and of course we have to print soup to see if it worked. So I would like to hear a joke about dogs. Perfect, it worked. It returned something to us. That's all we were looking for. So a quick mistake that we actually did make was that we used an and sign instead of a question mark. So be sure to change this to a question mark. And once that's done, we can take the code that we already wrote up here. So we can take this and we can copy it down here to get a random joke back from the page. So if we uncomment it and then run the code, we should get a random joke back. What would you like to hear a joke about? Dogs. So there we go. At the boxing match, the dad got into the popcorn line and the line for hot dogs, but he wanted to stay out of the punchline. Great joke. But anyway, let's remove this code since we've already used it. We can remove the code from step 1 too. Now, if we look at step 4, we can see that we've actually already completed it, and we have actually already returned the joke to the user based on the keyword they chose. So we can just remove this step as we've already done it, and let's remove step 3, or step 1, 2 and 3 as well. We're also going to remove this because we don't need to print soup every time we run this code, and if we run it now, it should be nice and clean. So what would you like to hear a joke about? Let's say cats this time. Cats. What do you call a pile of cats? A mountain. Another great joke. But anyway, what we want to do here is actually put a little space here, because it is a bit too cluttered. So let's rerun that. Better. So now we have a little space in between the question and the answer. So let's stop that, and yeah, the next step is going to be to build the rest of the game logic, as well as some simple error handling. So the first thing we're going to do, after we've returned the joke, is ask the user if they want to play again. So let's make a new input called, or let's make a new variable called play again. And let's set it equal to the input of would you like to hear another joke? And then we can set the answers to Y or N. We can ask them to respond with Y or N. And then we can say if play again equals Y or even a capital Y, then you're going to play again. So that's a function we haven't created yet. Otherwise, we're going to print thank you for playing, have a good day, and with a smiley face. So if we run that again, it won't work, but we will see that the question does come up and we can put an answer in. So we know that it's not going to work if we type Y, so let's type N and it should print thank you for playing, and it does. Perfect. So the next step is going to be to create a function which allows us to play again. So if we look at the code already, we can see that from about here to here is part of the game. So what we can actually do is just indent everything here and put it inside a new function called play again. And in the function, we are actually going to put everything else in as well. So if we now call the function, let's see what happens. So what would you like to hear a joke about? Cats. Would you like to hear another joke? Yes, I would. So let's type Y. So I did make a few quick changes to the code. The first one being that we changed the function name to new game. So down here we're calling new game instead of play again, because it was a bit confusing. I also changed this from an equal sign to in. Now, if we rerun the code again, and let's say cat, and then let's say we want to play again, we get to choose another search term. So we can see that the function is clearly working. So the final thing that we need to do is to create a new function, which I've already done, called replay. And it's basically got all the components where we ask the user if they want to play again. So we just put it all into a function. And then we also are checking now if there are jokes in jokes. So if there's a joke, then print a random joke. Otherwise print I could not find any jokes about. And then we replay. So if we try it out and we type in something like cats, we know there's a joke about that. And then if we type in something random, for example, it should return I could not find any jokes about the search term, which is perfect. And after that's done, we're going to want to do some quick formatting because it is a bit cluttered. So we're going to probably want to add some new lines in between all the different inputs and different print statements. So if we add a new line in there, it should already look a lot better, and it does. But we're also going to need to add a new line under the new joke. So we can just copy that actually and just paste it in to here. And we're probably going to want to have one in the replay function too. And after the... Well, let's just check quickly. So let's just have one more new line there. And let's check now. Okay. I think that's looking quite good now. So yeah, I think that's all we have to do. So step 5 is complete, and yeah, the game is pretty much complete. So yeah, that was about 36 lines of code, and it's looking really good. So thanks for watching, guys, and peace.